What is the most disturbing internet rabbit hole you got caught into? That dude Ralph responded. My TikTok algorithm showed me a video of the worst motel in Georgia. I looked up the reviews and found one left by a young homeless guy clearly struggling with mental health/addiction that was living at the motel. It said the guy had left 200+ reviews. I clicked on his page and realized that he wrote reviews every day at every place he went to. Many were they helped the homeless or they wouldn't give me food and I'm starving. Fuck this place. I was basically able to see every place the guy stopped for almost 2 years. I went back to look further at the seedy motel reviews and the guy's dad left one saying that he was grateful his son had a roof over his head. It crushed me. I don't remember the name of the motel, but I was crying at 4 a.m. Paraworldblue responded. Datura trip reports rank pretty high. I've had bad trips on psychedelics, but nothing even remotely as fucked up as what people experience on deliriums like Datura. On psychedelics, no matter how crazy it gets, you at least know you're tripping. The shit you see is clearly just overlaid on reality, you know you're hallucinating. That's not the case with Datura. From what LVE read, the shit you see doesn't look psychedelic at all, it looks real. You might not even realize you're tripping. Your dead grandpa is really in the room talking to you. Your friend is really getting brutally murdered in front of you. The giant spiders are really crawling all over you. It's all 100% real as far as you can tell. Since you have no connection to reality, you can get into serious trouble or even die. You might think you're fighting a demon and then get arrested for assaulting a random person in a park. All bets are off with that shit. Oh, and also it lasts several days. _inevitable_client 237 responded. It's probably not that exciting, but learning everything. Diddy did, and we just let that shit slide for decades. Also, seeing how many celebs are involved, shit, so glad I'm not one of those people who has a parasocial relationship with celebrities, lol. It's awful, and the stuff that's coming out now is only the tip of the iceberg. I feel like this is just old news being brought to light. I can't stand Justin Bieber or Usher, but damn, Diddler fucked them up. Like sent Usher to the hospital for a torn asshole when he was younger. Shit is fucked. Jack of Hearts 7 responded. The leg found at the OKC bombing site. Nutshell, a random leg was found in the aftermath of the OKC bombing back in '95. They identified the leg and exhumed the corpse it belonged to. Only problem? He was already buried with 2 legs. Except one wasn't his. They swapped his leg and set to work trying to find the owner of the other leg. DNA testing failed to find out who it belonged to. So whose leg was it? Nearly 30 years later, we have no clue. Some say it was a widely believed third accomplice to the bombing. Asian Jeff responded. I forget the subreddit, but it shook me to my deepest fiber. It's a Reddit where they ask you if you can ID where a photo was taken. At first I thought, oh cool, this sounds fun. Some of the photos clearly had a small child edited out, they were fucking trafficked and trying to find where the perp is who is committing the heinous acts. I looked through every single post to see if I could help /recognize a landmark/indicator. Not every photo has a person edited out, but you can just tell. Realizing there's people/children right now needing to be saved breaks my heart. Edit, thanks Filiberto, the pages you'd like to see for yourself. R/trace and object, if. /Drachenfuhrer responded. I saw someone mention Junko Furuta, so I looked her up. Edit, the worst part was, I had no context before looking. I can't remember the exact circumstances, but it was a Reddit post that someone casually mentioned her name but as a missing person or something far less than what it was. Certainly not the horrors that poor women went through and what happened after. But it was almost a casual mention. The only reason I looked her up was because I thought the name was quite unusual and rather interesting. So I was just wondering if she was famous in Japan or something to look up while being bored and meandering around Reddit. Little did I know. This was quite a while ago. Her name comes up frequently now, but it was almost unknown internationally. I am sure it was well known in Japan at the time. /Schneetmacher responded. Lose to follow high fashion models in the late 2000s/early 2010s. Frida Gustafsson, Sasha Pivovarova, Vlada Rozliakova, Olga Scherer, Snejana Anopka. As you can see, I gravitated toward the Slavic models, mainly, those were my favorites. I was looking up runway photos of either Rozliakova or Scherer and stumbled upon a blog congratulating one of the models in a candid photo for enjoying a breakfast of black coffee and a cigarette. The caption was, "We approve." That was the day I learned that there was such a thing as a pro-ana community, or thinspo. This was the opposite of a support group unless your understanding of a support group was supporting each other's addictions and unhealthy coping mechanisms. They exchanged tips, like sprinkling black pepper on lettuce, to make you think you were eating more than you actually were. It was frightening. U/background_use2516 responded. A Discord server, which looked like just a typical toxic troll/LARP/shitpost server, but turned out to have people that were running an actual international pedo-sex trafficking ring and various other hardcore criminals. Some people called it out and reported the server to Discord, but Discord didn't shut it down, and got doxxed very thoroughly by the sketchy users. Even their family members' docs were posted for harassment. I quit the server and forwarded a few posts to the feds after people's IDs and phone numbers got posted. No idea what happened next. They never got back to me. U/square_ad8710 responded. Watching the new videos about the Titan sub that was destroyed last year. While I have zero sympathy for the owner who was knowingly breaking the rules, dying in that sub, I feel bad for the crew that he conned into going. One video that I watched last night suggested the possibility that they knew they were in danger and was trying to raise up to safety when they imploded, and it wasn't a quick thing, like they knew for approximately a minute that they were moments away from instant death, but the death was so sudden and so violent that no one knew it happened. Human brains don't work fast enough to process an implosion at that speed. U/frogplushie responded. Can't remember how I found it, but I found a paragraph of someone describing how they groomed, sexually abused, and emotionally manipulated a girl from childhood to adulthood and basically turned her into a codependent slave that would never leave him. He came into her life as an elementary school kid and made sure she didn't learn any life skills during her teens. He taught her to see providing sexual pleasure as her only purpose. She finished school and moved in with him. She had no job, no family, no life. Just serving this sick fuck. I copy-pasted it into Google and it had only 2 results. One was a plaintext page with the paragraph and the other was some early 2000s forum webpage with people talking about how gross it is and speculating if it's real. I really hope it was just some edgelord writing up a fake story. It was so fucking demented. He had hijacked her life and turned her into a husk of a person just for his own satisfaction. If it wasn't fake, I hope she's okay. It was posted like 20 years ago. U/Super64 responded. I went deep on Holocaust experiments and the Japanese experiments on prisoners during WW2. I was depressed for weeks after it. The images of some of the kids haunt me to this day, the terror and pain they endured. For what? I really questioned what even is life after that. How can that happen and how can people do it? My social media algorithms, of course, then peppered me with the stuff. I ended up closing down a lot of accounts and forcing myself to talk about it. It still messes with my head. I have 2 kids, and knowing the evil that is out there terrifies me and makes me angry. U/Omniwing responded. Bots will downvote me into oblivion and I won't be believed, but up until around 2005, if you looked up Balfour Accords on Encyclopedia Britannica's website, it was shocking how much it disclosed. Even at the time, the Wikipedia article and the Encyclopedia Britannica's article were very different. It described how the Ottoman Empire and the whole Middle East was carved up, and their oil was largely given to the conquering powers, France, Britain, US. BP only exists because it was founded as a company that was taking Middle Eastern war spoils, oil, and selling it through England. The borders of the countries as they are now are, because that's how the West decided them to be. And they were purposely carved out in a way to prevent Persia from ever reuniting. The articles today hint at this, and if you dig deep enough you'll find all this to be true, but back in the day the history was laid out in a very stark, obvious manner, and having read that and living today, I can see clearly the erasure of what really happened by way of framing. U/Arrival Medical 456 responded. In high school, I was about 14 at the time. I kept making harmless but gross jokes about cannibalism to get a rise out of my buddy. It was just stuff like, it'll be good for the environment, the earth is overpopulated. Queen Elizabeth would probably fund/support it since she's a lizard person and all. Truly stupid 14-year-old BS. My friend was like, no one would ethically support it, no one's going to fund it, you twat. So L of course searched up the debate topic online so prove him wrong and stumbled upon a QAnon subreddit, big mistake. The things I saw people discussing their man. Just hundreds of responses of people literally discussing how they would set up an ethical human meat trade, starting with culling babies like we do with infant cows to make veal and stuff, going into detail on how they'd butcher the babies by slitting their throats straight out the womb so they won't feel pain and it'll be a cleaner way to consume the meat, etc., etc. I am genuinely horrified by the things I saw these people say. There was no hint of sarcasm or anything. I immediately stopped making jokes about it and closed my laptop. My buddy was also horrified and it completely killed our usual goofing off in class mood for the day. Me and my buddy are still best friends, 5 years later, and now he makes cannibalism jokes at my expense, calling me a sick fuck for what I searched up. But yeah. Don't go on QAnon, lol. U/Curtaintifier responded. There was a website called rapey.com, it's had various other domains as it was constantly shut down, luckily it's still down. A small YouTuber did a video on it and basically a guy named Nathan Larson who ran for Senate ran this pedophilic site, posting about SA and making girls post themselves, underage girls at that. In order to be verified, you had to post a nude with the website name written on your body. Uncles posting nieces, fathers posting daughters, even girls as young as 13 posting themselves. The guy was caught trying to fly over a 15-year-old to become his slave or something. U/A/HardCodeLife responded. Doom scrolled through best G+ or 3 self-delete tag until the site ran out of articles for that tag or the site itself was shut down. Found some interesting stuff. Like that Indian family that offed themselves by hanging to communicate with a dead relative, thinking they'll just back to life and untie each other from their binds and nooses. One tragic article that I remember very clearly was just video of a woman, a mother of 2 or 3, streaming her suicide by hanging while her children cried and wailed around her. One of the children, seemingly too aware of what their mama is doing, tried to lift her up, but to no avail. U/AutoCanepi responded. Seeing if the dark/deep web was real. I downloaded the appropriate browser and played Where Does This Link Go scene and read some shit I really wish I hadn't for a few hours. Eventually, my laptop started to act up and freeze. Tried to get to the control panel. That didn't work, and hard dumping it didn't work either. Then after several other attempts to fix it, a chat board popped up with a message telling me something along the lines of, "That's not going to work." I tried typing back, but my keyboard didn't work. But the person in chat said he could hear me just fine. Then asked me why I had my camera covered. I remember cussing and shutting my laptop. Thought that was over until my laptop started blasting the jigsaw laugh. So I turned the stupid thing over and pulled out the battery. Laptop had an easy to remove battery. Waited till the next day to turn the thing back on. But it was basically screwed. Even factoring it didn't really make it work right. Ended up selling it off of Craigslist, minus the HDD. U/RR Magician responded. Had a couple friends in school that would watch shit from shock sites. A lot of it was just gross, and we'd basically just watch each other watch and snicker at each other's faces. I literally puked at some of it. But 3 things in particular left me with some deep mental scarring: Pain Olympics, 3 Guys 1 Hammer, and any of ISIS and cartel executions. Wish I could scrub them all from my mind. All of that shit was seen within a few days of each other in high school, and I can still remember a lot of it vividly. Traumatic shit. I'm no longer friends with those guys in my 30s. Also, should go without saying, but, seriously, spare your mind the trauma, and don't look up any of the shit I mentioned. If you've seen it, then you know how absolutely fucked it is.
Thank you for watching. If you like this video, you might enjoy the rest of my content. Check it out.